girls, welcome to lesson number 5. We're going to complete this 12 bar now. And I just have one question and a reminder, and that is, did you put your time in before this lesson? You need to put your time into. All right, that's it. I'm not lecturing you anymore. If you stumble on this, then it's your fault because you didn't put enough time into your scale. You got to know your scale. Okay, riff number 9. Let's have a look at riff number 9. When we took riff number 8, we went, and if you play it right, with the right fingering, like first, third, first, third, first, third, first, third, you line yourself up for riff number 9 automatically without having to move your hand position at all. Use your second finger, you start second beat of bar number 9 for riff number 9 with your 15th fret, second string, then 17th fret with your pinky, and that's a hammer, and then pick on the 15th fret 12th. Sorry, 15th fret, first string. So 15th fret, second string, hammer the 17th fret, then 15th fret, first string. Back to the 17th fret, second string, and then one more hit on the 15th fret. Notice that this is the highest point of our solo. We haven't gone this high yet. The reason for it is this is where the progression goes to the B minor 7th, the highest chord change in our progression. This is the build, the peak of our progression, which is why I'm doing that. So you'll notice how nicely it morphs from riff number 8 into riff number 9. And at the very end of riff number 9, we hit the 17th fret, first string, and slide down. That's a B.B. King trick. And that brings us to riff number 10. And I'm going to put riff number 9 and riff number 10 together because they work so well together, and there's no new techniques or anything in here that I have to explain to you. The only new technique is when you get to the 17th fret on riff number 9, just let it slide down and let it ring a little bit. You've got time because it's a quarter note there and the song is slow moving. And then you've also got the quarter rest before you start riff number 10, which is pretty straightforward. It starts on the 14th fret, third string, and it goes back and forth from the 14th fret to the 12th fret to the 14th fret, back to the 12th fret. Then it crosses over to the 4th string and it goes 14th fret, 12th fret, 14th. Remember, it starts on the second beat of the bar, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's what you're going to do there. And there's a bunch of different timings for it too. Now let's put riff number 9 and 10 together, okay? Isn't this exciting? We've just gotten through 10 bars of our solo now, and we're going to finish it up with riff number 11 and riff number 12. And these aren't very difficult riffs, but they add one more new technique. In riff number 11, we add a string stretch, which is super important, and I'll talk about that in a second. And in riff number 12, we add a chromatic passing note, which is outside of the scale. We'll talk about that too. But first, riff number 11, the string bend, is going to be on the 3rd string, starting at the 14th fret. Now I get my other fingers in behind it to help if I need the strength, because you need to go a whole step. Now the note you're stretching to happens to be on the 12th fret, 2nd string. So if you need a reference, you can always use that as a reference to get an idea of where you're supposed to be as far as pitch goes. Now you want to stretch up to the note a whole step, like a one tone. You want to pick. And that's all you have to do. And that will lead us right into riff 12. So also, riff number 11 starts on the 2nd beat of the bar. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you got room there. I want you to just hang on to that E root. And then one more time for riff number 12, we'll go. We're going to do that hammer on there. You can practice that individually too. There's a bit of a pause there as you let your E ring out on the 14th fret, 4th string, and then it goes to the chromatic passing note, which has to be timed with what's going on in our rhythm track. And you'll hear that when I'm playing it. Again, we're going to go from riff number 11 to riff number 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that's the way it's going to sound. And that chromatic passing note is known as the flatted 5th in blues, or the devil's note. They also call it the blues note. It's outside of the basic scale, and it's used a lot. And you should be able to incorporate that into your study, into your practice. When you're practicing your scale, you can practice by adding that note. Sometimes you'll see that scale notated as the rock or blues scale, but it's just a chromatic passing note between the 4 and the 5, which, like I said, is known as the flatted 5th. And so we're going to do that right now. We're going to finish our solo. And let me mention again that if you're having problems with any of these riffs, the timing in that, use the jam track and get creative with it and tear them apart. You know, like I've been working riff number 9 and riff number 10 together. That's a good one to work on. You know, you can do that with most of your riffs here, like put riff number 1 and riff number 2 together and work them over the cycle. You know, then you can work on riff number 3 and riff number 4 and work them over the cycle. And this will just polish you right up. Okay, so let's do this right now. boys and girls, I got one more thing to add to this. I'm going to use all 3 cycles of the 12 bar this time. And the first time through, I'm going to play pretty close to what I taught you, maybe with just slight changes. The second 12 bar, I'm going to make more variations and more changes, still on the themes that we worked on. And the final one, I'm going to take these ideas that I've given you and I'm just going to mix them up and do my own thing with it. And that'll be my final note for you. Okay, let's do it. All right, folks, I'm done with you at this point. Just a few words of advice. If you didn't get it all in the 5 days, I'm not going to tell anybody, and you don't have to either. You have to be patient with yourself, and not everybody is at the same level. And I try really hard to keep it as easy as I can, but I know that as I got into the last 12 bar, that I started to go a little bit over the bar line as far as timing and as far as enhancing the riffs. If you need a couple more days, ain't no sweat, man. Don't worry about it. Work on it a little more. May I suggest that you separate your riffs. If there's a riff you're getting hung up about, then just take that one riff and go over the whole 12 bar with it until you can do it in your sleep. This is what I suggest with anything that you have a problem with, because really what you want to do is you don't want to memorize my timing as much. More or less, you want to know these note groupings and then put your own spin on them. It's the note groupings that are really important. It's like each note grouping is like part of a sentence. You've got to treat your guitar like you're going to have a conversation with whoever you're performing with, and use that as your voice, especially for you guys that don't sing. You need to express yourself through your solos, through your instrumental part. I mean, there's lots of other great players that have done it. Joe Satriani, Eric Johnson, to name a few. There's even guys like Link Wray that did Rumble, and that was the first instrumental. There was no vocals in that. And he just used his guitar to express himself, and that's what you need to do. So don't be afraid to experiment with these riffs and go a little further. And I appreciate your time. And like I said, don't sweat it too much if you didn't get it in the 5 days. Give yourself a couple more and you can really tune it up. If you spend a couple weeks on this, you get real good at it. If you spend a year learning these note groupings, you could play any solo in any key, because all you have to do is move these ideas to a different key. Same pattern, we're just going to move it to another key. So, if you like this kind of teaching and you enjoyed this and you want to learn some more, I've got a great course, Stage 4 Ultimate Blues course, and this would be your primer to get you into Stage 4. It would just follow right along with what we're doing right now. So you come and check it out at riffninja.com, and we will see you later.